In a world full of filters and facades, these queer women choose honesty. No performance, no pretending, just soft glances, quiet love, and everyday moments that feel like home. They're not just making content, they're creating connection for everyone who's ever felt a little different, a little lost, or a little too much. Isabella Avila, aka Only JS, is best known for fast-talking, info-packed videos about psychology, the brain, and weird science stuff. But beneath that sharp delivery is a complex, evolving creator who's learning in real time. After facing controversy, she didn't disappear. She owned up, made amends, and kept going. And in the process, she showed what real accountability looks like. As a queer woman in STEM, Isabella is breaking stereotypes while cracking jokes. Her videos remind us that queer representation belongs everywhere, including neuroscience. We're all learning. Just do your best, and when you know better, do better. JS. Jojo Siwa burst into the spotlight with glittery bows, bubblegum pop, and Nickelodeon-level energy. But when she came out in 2021, the world saw something even brighter than her sequins: her bravery. Coming out as a lesbian at 17, while at the peak of her fame as a children's performer, wasn't easy. Jojo risked criticism, brand deals, and millions of followers. But she chose truth over comfort, and she's only grown stronger. Now, her TikToks are a mix of unfiltered realness, high-energy dance routines, tender moments, and honest insights about heartbreak and identity. Her journey has helped countless queer teens feel seen, especially those who didn't know they were allowed to sparkle. If you love who you are, no one can dim your light. Jojo Siwa. With her signature skater style, charming smile, and totally relaxed vibe, Avery Cyrus has become one of the most beloved queer creators on TikTok. She's the kind of person who makes you feel safe, like you could say anything and still be accepted. Avery doesn't perform queerness, she simply lives it. Her past relationship with Jojo Siwa drew major attention, but it was her consistent kindness, humor, and integrity that kept fans invested. She talks openly about gender roles, queer dating, and personal growth, all while keeping it real and grounded. Avery shows young queer people, especially tomboys and mask-presenting women, that softness and strength aren't opposites. They're partners. I'm just here to live my truth and maybe help someone else live theirs too. Avery. Amber's platform isn't about trends, it's about truth. As a Black lesbian woman, she brings a powerful voice to conversations around intersectionality, representation, and justice. Through skits, story times, and straight-up call-outs, Amber tackles racism, misogyny, homophobia, and everything in between. But she also makes space for joy, the kind of joy that only comes from living free. She's also a huge advocate for healthy queer relationships, gender expression, and dismantling internalized oppression. Her videos don't just entertain, they educate, and that's real influence. Being visible as a queer Black woman is my activism. Every day I show up, I create space. Amber. Gabrielle isn't just a creator, she's a thinker. She dives into deep, nuanced topics like biphobia, sexual agency, queer feminism, and gender identity with rare clarity. She's witty, warm, and wildly smart. You might come to her page for the aesthetics, the vibes, the slow-motion hair flips, but you'll stay for the insights. Gabrielle's gift is saying what so many queer women feel, but haven't found the words for yet. She makes you think, laugh, and most of all, feel understood. The world is complicated. Your identity doesn't have to be tidy to be valid. Gabrielle. Georgia's coming out to my mom video wasn't just viral, it was a cultural moment. Vulnerable, emotional, and overwhelmingly real, it gave millions of bisexual people a sense of recognition they didn't even know they needed. Since then, Georgia has used her platform to talk about love, mental health, sexuality, and family with such sincerity that it feels like you're FaceTiming a best friend. She's not flashy or overproduced. She's Georgia. Open-hearted, awkward at times, and deeply human. And that's exactly why so many people feel safe with her. Kayla Nicole Jones is internet royalty. Her hilariously exaggerated facial expressions and wild commentary birthed some of the most iconic memes of the last decade. But if you stop at the surface, you're missing the real beauty of Kayla's story. Beneath the comedy is a deeply introspective, resilient young woman navigating her sexuality, motherhood, and mental health in a world that hasn't always been kind, especially to queer Black women. She's opened up about her journey with identity and self-worth, all while continuing to make people laugh. That kind of duality, to carry pain and still choose joy, is rare. And it's sacred. Whether she's making a parody, talking candidly about postpartum depression, or showing her growth as a young queer mom, Kayla's content is a masterclass in vulnerability. She doesn't pretend to have it all figured out, she just shows up honestly. And that matters more than perfection ever could. Healing out loud is scary, but if it helps someone else do the same, totally worth it. Kayla? Sienna May Gomez first gained recognition for her body-positive content, dancing joyfully in her natural body, celebrating movement, and pushing back against beauty standards. But over time, she's revealed even more layers: deep emotional intelligence, quiet strength, and a fiercely inclusive spirit. Though she doesn't always put a label on her queerness, Sienna's openness about attraction, love, and emotional intimacy signals a queer-affirming worldview. She speaks to a generation that's increasingly fluid, not just in gender and sexuality, but in how they love, relate, and exist. Sienna's content is filled with softness, long walks in nature, meditative reflections, messy moments of growth. She doesn't perform for applause, she just is. And in doing so, she gives others permission to show up fully in their own bodies, emotions, and truths. You don't owe anyone a definition, just be honest with yourself. That's where the real freedom is. Sienna May Gomez. She's proof that being gentle is a form of resistance, especially in a world that often demands we shrink, perform, or hide. Chris Olsen might not be a queer woman, but his role as a vocal, visible, and consistent ally to the entire LGBTQ+ community, especially queer women and non-binary folks, makes him impossible to leave off this list. He's that rare kind of creator who uses his spotlight to share it. Whether he's teaming up with queer women creators, reposting their content, hyping them up in the comments, or shouting out issues that affect them, Chris is always there, showing up, supporting, amplifying. His content is a joyful mix of goofy day-in-the-life updates, hilarious trends, and deeply affirming messages of love and encouragement. He's got that rare ability to be funny and emotionally available, and he's not afraid to cry on camera, talk about therapy, or express affection for his friends. Chris shows the world that allyship isn't just about rainbow flags during Pride Month. It's about showing up consistently, listening more than talking, and celebrating others with zero ego. You don't need to be the center of the story to be part of the fight. Chris Olsen. He's not just the gay best friend everyone wishes they had. He's the kind of person who reminds us that true support is loud, loving, and deeply rooted in action. Tori McKenzie isn't trying to go viral. She's not chasing clout or curating some ultra-polished persona. Instead, she's quietly creating one of the most sincere corners of queer TikTok. And that's exactly why people are falling in love with her content. Her videos feel like a deep breath. Snippets of her cozy domestic life with her partner, late-night talks about identity, morning coffee rituals, goofy dances in sweats and socks. She doesn't try to define her gender or sexuality with precision. She just lives it. And that openness, that refusal to be confined, is deeply liberating to watch. Tori's presence is especially powerful for those who've never seen themselves reflected in mainstream media. Tomboyish, fluid, soft in their masculinity, gentle in their queerness. She gives permission for people to simply exist as they are, without apology or explanation. I don't know what label fits me best, and honestly, I don't care. I'm just here to love and be loved. Tori McKenzie. Her content is a reminder that queerness doesn't have to be loud to be revolutionary. Sometimes a quiet life filled with authenticity, joy, and mutual respect is the most radical thing of all. These creators don't just exist online, they expand what's possible. They're rewriting the rules, breaking the silence, and making room for love in all its forms. So if you're wondering whether the world has space for you, let this be your sign. It does. And these women? They're already building it.